Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Watchlist post-debate analysis. It's not going to be that long, you guys. I just wanted to jump in, talk about what it is that we saw. I'm actually curious what folks think happened. I was watching it, and I wasn't in the middle of listening to other folks give their responses and reactions, but I took in the whole thing, was tweeting as we went along with it, and it seemed like it was kind of one-sided. Again, I would love to know what other folks think, because maybe I'm not seeing it the same way other folks have. I'm not watching the post analysis that I'm seeing on other networks as well either. But many of them are talking about, I'm seeing some tweets, seeing some mentions, not really sure if people are seeing it the way I did, because I think it was detailed, direct, and pretty. I don't want to go over the top with saying how the vice president kind of picked Donald Trump apart and did it with sections to let people understand why it's important that she's saying the things that she's saying. This is the type of stuff that I like. What's going on, you guys, as you guys come in? I'm sorry, I jumped straight into talking before folks really showed up. So hopefully as you guys still jump in, we'll see how it's going. What's going on, Reverend? Potty Mouth, me 22, also Dexter Wong. How you guys doing? Someone has the morning going. It's evening here. But on to the debate really fast. I'm curious what folks thought. I'm glad you guys are jumping in now. Let me get this a little bit closer to see what you guys are saying. My eyes are getting old. I'm bad. Ricardo Rodriguez. What's going on, brother? Rodriguez says, say hi to me, JR. Yes, hi. Really fast. I'm curious if people thought the same thing I did. Saw what I saw. It seemed kind of one-sided. It seemed like I didn't like how it began. I was like, damn, a little bit too scripted. A little bit too, not even rehearsed, because it didn't feel rehearsed, but I can tell when someone's rehearsed something, even when they're good at delivering it, which Kamala Harris was. But the first line, when she jumped straight in, I said, she's not directly answering what it is about Donald Trump. And I'm willing to admit I was completely wrong in thinking that approach was off, because I thought it was going to come off robotic. I thought it was going to come off like she's thinking about, let me get to these points so I can make sure we hit the things that we want to predict will happen. She let him say all. This is the good thing about being the person who's correct on many topics. If you let the person who wows out and actively and confidently says all of the wrong things directly when it's based in reality, all you have to do is respond to the ridiculousness. Just if it's as ridiculous as MAGA and Donald Trump is, just sit back and wait. Let him talk, then respond. Then point out why what he said is bad for the country, why his temperament and his thought process and the things that we all know don't make any damn sense, why that's crazy. Because for some reason, when people need to be told, when someone's saying crazy things, that's some crazy stuff that he's saying. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm sorry. Hold on. I've been over here talking instead. I ask you guys questions and then don't look for your answers. It is over. Folks are saying, let me look up a little bit higher. He spiraled. Yeah, there was many moments when he spiraled, and then I thought it was going to continue, but then he reeled it back in, and we were watching, and he would start quiet, and he'd build up, and next you know he's talking about Hunter Biden, and $3 billion from China, and Viktor Orban. There's so many things that happened here. There wasn't even a direct response to how much he praised and kissed Viktor Orban's ass 3 to 4 different times over 2 different answers about who foreign dictators support in this election. It's 2024, and the 2 presidential candidates for the White House are talking about how one of them wants the endorsements of Vladimir Putin, Viktor Orban, and Kim Jong-un. And he said it proudly. Someone didn't say that about him, and then he has to deny it later because this could be the end of his campaign. This is him saying it, and it's not the first time he said it. He said they call Viktor Orban a strong man. They call him a strong man, but he's actually a well-respected leader across the world. Bro, if no one has to tell you how dangerous and how crazed Donald Trump is, he tells you every day. So I'm not sure how this would come out with Kamala having to dispel all the lies, but they were so wild. All you have to do is say, really? So you do think that in some states, they're allowing infanticide to happen on delivery tables. And matter of fact, David Muir and them had to talk about it and say, listen, actually, that doesn't happen. child and baby and infant murder is illegal in all 50 states. In case some folks didn't know that, since he keeps repeating that same thing over and over again. Every time Kamala Harris came with facts, details, and stats behind the reasons why his temperament and his policies, which he has very few of, as he pointed out, I've got a working model going for my healthcare proposal that I said I was going to replace 9 years ago. Instead, he saved Obamacare from rotting. Sorry, I'm firing off all the crazy things that we heard. There was countless versions of insanity that he went through tonight. That finally someone told him directly, "You see what you just said there, fool? That's crazy. This is why it's crazy, because as you implement policies to support that crazy notion that you just had, it'll hurt 5 to 6 to 7, 8 million people. Just saying, across the world, your policies are crazy, and it's based in your lack of understanding of how anything works. That's why it's important that he doesn't know anything. So every time we look up and see that Donald Trump doesn't know anything, instead of going, oh, he'll learn, he'll figure it out. He's the guy who said you're fired all the time. We finally realize how it directly maybe impacts these things called, like, policy and the direction of our country, and safety and security, and our opportunities for making it in this world. The people that he doesn't give a damn about. Sorry, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at what you guys said again. Am I wrong? I'm trying to figure if I'm wrong. Sorry. Let me see this super chat. A Pitchforks Dragon says Trump hasn't been spanked and dedicated on like that since he was Russian. I think I know what you meant besides dedicated. So thank you for that super chat. Let's see. So I'm looking to see if I was wrong. I apologize. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he knocked this one out the park. Maybe it wasn't embarrassing for him. And by the way, if you're a casual watcher of this debate and kind of peeked in and out, you didn't see how consistently every answer, even the ones that she didn't get to come back and have another rebuttal for, because Donald Trump had about 10 to 12 of those. The ones that she didn't get a chance to come back and have another rebuttal for, she still picked him apart. It was really weird. I was like, yo, so there was one of them was the Viktor Orban answer. I was like, please, someone point out that he's praising Viktor Orban. I'm not wrong, Mystery Girl says. Thank you. I appreciate you. Can't shame sociopaths, Jules says. What's going on, Jules? I don't know. It was odd. But then, does it translate to people realizing how insane this is? Does it translate? Do people now pick up on the fact, maybe people that were undecided didn't really know? Or what I saw in many pre-debate shows was American people just don't know Kamala Harris yet. I thought that was odd, maybe because my face is in it every day. But I can accept that. The American people didn't know Kamala Harris. Did they get to learn a little bit tonight? Did they learn? You know what? You learned about, I guess. I didn't know who didn't know her. So whoever didn't know her, maybe you learned something about her tonight. But also, did you learn something about Donald Trump? Because that was actually the most effective part about this. She took these questions and answers and discussions, gave her perspective, and then also point out how bad he is at it. That's a standard debate thing. And then when his response to it confirmed everything she said. Because that's how bad they are at this. It's just saying the same horrible, ridiculous things over and over and over again, and then somehow hoping that enough people go, yeah, that's right. You know what? I finally remembered. I almost jumped out of my seat. It's those damn immigrants up in Springfield, Ohio, that are stealing people's pets and eating them for dinner. The people on the television told me so. It's those damn immigrants up in Springfield, Ohio, stealing people's pets because my running mate, JD Dumbass Vance, running with this story that these Haitian immigrants are stealing people's pets and eating them. And of course, the local authorities and folks there that they had to talk to said, yeah, there's no reports of that happening. That's some racism right there. So again, to add one more layer to their constant drumbeat of aren't all those immigrants, as he started in 2015, rapists, murderers, and drug dealers, those Haitian ones also eat your pets. This is the guy who wants to be the president again. Why? What did he say tonight that would make you think, you know what? the way he thinks, the way he approaches things, the way that he takes what someone randomly says to him and embarks it on national TV in front of a national audience at a debate and states it as fact because the people on the TV told me so, he said, why is that the guy you want running this country? Why? What is he going to do? What is it about that approach that's beneficial for the way that we run things in the country? That's beneficial for your life, that gives you an opportunity to make your life and your kids' lives better. Just tell me how that works. Yo, he went on tariffs to talk about the exact opposite effect of tariffs. He said it like, yo, I know everybody says the sky is blue, but you know what? Believe me, it's bright red. He directly said that tariffs, I made billions of dollars off of them. Billions. I made billions of dollars off of them. So now I'm gonna implement a tariff system where, and it's not gonna harm the consumer at all. There's no payments that comes from the importing country, despite what every person who has anything ever to do with tariffs has ever said about tariffs. Let me just say the opposite. Sorry, you know what I did again? I'm not watching what you guys are talking about. I'm just yelling at you in the camera. Hi, what's going on, you guys? RB says, we the people must remember the presidency of the US is not a position made for on-the-job training. This continues to prove what many folks that have had to experience it in this manner, specifically Black folks, Black women, minorities, Latinos, anybody else that's had to deal with how people are put in positions when they don't deserve it because of their look and their names. Happens all the time in every industry and everything where anybody has any kind of upward mobility in the country. And the fact that we're seeing on full display that Donald F. and Trump, the Republican Party, can come up with still many of the same disagreeable things that Democrats, libs, progressives, anybody has with conservatives, and they don't have to promote this guy to be the one to deliver the message. Why is this guy the one that suddenly, because he said up is down, you go, let's go with that guy? Okay, sorry. I started yelling again. Kamala Harris did. She baited the hell out of Trump. Popeye's dad said that was hilarious. Plus, Trump doesn't know jack about tariffs and its functions. None at all. I screamed that. It's one of the few times I've ever posted in all caps. It was one of the moments when I said, come on, yeah, you guys can't pre-plan this. You guys can't pre-plan this line and actually think that Donald Trump's going to take the bait. She talked about how his rallies are boring and long, and people start leaving. I was like, oh, come on, bro. I said, you can't tee up something that easy. He's going to breeze by that. He's not going to respond to that. This fool then started talking about how his debates are the biggest and the best ever in the world. She buses people in, and then there was this one airplane picture where someone took it and put it on the internet and said there's too much of a reflection in the airplane, and that all those real people there were just AI figures. He repeated it again, directly after she baited him into that the rally line. Anybody that was watching, I thought, were like, oh, she doesn't have to bait him into that. He'll get to it at some point. And he just took it and ran. Oh, there's so many things that happen. I'm just remembering as we're going through this, because someone said I wouldn't, what did they say? I wouldn't let him watch my cat or something, right? Because I also, again, posted when they had their debate on, or the section of the debate where they talked about abortion rights. And Kamala Harris, again, with this simplest approach that you can even take, she didn't have to get too deep into the details and the realities of why folks need reproductive health care. And this fool went to talking about infanticide, and then and how he knows nothing. It gives a stark reminder of who knows something about the subject and who's nothing about it. And why would you trust the guy who knows nothing about the topic that we're discussing, and then says that, oh yeah, these Democrats want to murder children all the way up into the 19th month. I was a leader on IVF. Then he said that's fertilization. Bro, if you have to give the definition of something that you've been the leader on, you might not have been the leader on it because you just learned about it right after you then made sure you put folks in place that would overturn Roe versus Wade, which then would allow states like Alabama Supreme Court to then go say IVF is illegal because of all of those throwaway experimental embryos. I don't even know the technology for it. But because of all that, they then are allowed to pass these types of things that then causes outrage before then the legislature overturns it. This was led by you, bro. And now you're a leader on IVF. You're the cause of this entire discussion. I think people finally started to see that. I think people, that's what was so impressive to me about this, because no one ever talks to them directly about cause and effect. Temperament then it leads you to do this and say that, and then come up with this policy that screws people over and over again. They didn't even talk about the reality for the Afghanistan withdrawal, which he was a big part of negotiating that made them go that direction. John effing Bolton pointed that out. Folks that understood how that worked pointed that out. So then it still became, Biden and Harris withdrew from Afghanistan. That was part of the plan. It's what he negotiated. At least they did bring up the fact that he had folks that I forget. He was meeting with, I think, Taliban leaders or someone. Sorry, I'm yelling again. So, anyways, I'm not sure if anyone thought he won that debate, and if he did, and not for the sake of trying to clown anyone, I'm just curious where he won it, because maybe this is a win for him, even though he didn't do anything. Kamala Harris, when they asked her really fast, this is maybe something conservatives can be upset about. I'll give you guys this. Maybe conservatives can be upset about this. They asked Kamala Harris about some changing points of view and her perspectives. They didn't really dig that deep. They let her kind of answer and run off. But the thing is with the fracking point, they just, okay, fine. You change your position on fracking or wherever it was before. Now it's on fracking. This is the vice president. But they allow her to then say, sure, we're all about fracking, but then we'll also develop these other new technologies. Cool. But is it to minimize and stop with this natural gas production that continues to destroy so many areas, and specifically with fracking, how the negative environmental effects with it? So if you allow her then to say that, I'm all for fracking, shouldn't the next question be, how do you feel about the environment, the negative environmental effects of it, though? Because there's some conflicting points here. We talked about climate change later. So she cares about the environment. Why is it that fracking outweighs the negative environmental effects of fracking? That's all. And maybe you have a good answer. I don't think you do, but maybe you have a good answer. That's something that they could actually come after her on. And they didn't. So, I mean, it seems like that point may kind of go away. And it's a little frustrating. Yeah. So we'll see. Someone says breaking, Tay Swift endorses KH. I'll check into that. Oh, Jules, you're always popping up. I didn't realize you were telling me this. Should I believe it? Should I really believe it? Trump's upper lip was all sweaty. Trump's upper lip gets sweaty a lot, and especially when he starts yelling and spitting on it and stuff. Trump in prison. Sorry. If someone said anything great that I totally missed, I apologize. Let me go back up. Oh, yeah. Look, Adam Christopher says Jayar Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It's over. I mean, I don't think anyone that's a Taylor Swift fan or anyone that would follow Taylor Swift's political advice was on the fence or was in Donald Trump's camp and then needed her to let them know. But I suppose it's a good thing. Yeah, I don't want to downplay that. Yeah, everyone's telling me. Sorry, this is some of the news that I missed while I was yelling at the camera. They were very selective with the timing of the mics, as Mead says. I did see that as well. But again, like honestly, the number of things that were picked apart and taken down and made him look so bad throughout the night. I noticed all the discrepancies in the mic behavior, but it kind of didn't do him any good, because the more he spoke, the worse he made himself look. And Kamala Harris was right there to point it out. Like, this sucks. And there was a few times she didn't get a chance to. So it just would have been worse. Yes, Central Park 5 conversation as well. He completely, I don't know if he forgot or if he forgot the story he's supposed to tell about the reasons why he continues to this day to accuse the exonerated 5 of the crimes that he then took out that full-page New York Times article for to have them executed. That one. still to this day hasn't pointed out how that's, even though the culprits actually came forward and said they did it to this day. Well, they said that that they confessed to the crime. So I mean, what am I supposed to say? Maybe look into the details of what is that happened in that confession that came forward, that coerced, forced confession from folks who didn't do it. Either they did or they didn't. Whether or not you see the confession or not. Again, the temperament and approach this guy has to, say, law enforcement, investigations, guilt or innocence. Why would you trust that guy who refuses to believe reality to be the head of the country, who, again, wants to take over the Department of Justice because somehow he thinks Joe Biden has control of it right now, but he'll actually want to have control of it so he can then adjudicate these types of judgments based off of whatever thought comes in and out of his brain, and that's the law? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think people began to see that. It's supposed to make me pull my hair out. How do we not see how insane this is? And by the way, if you support him, just say, yeah, because I like insanity, I want an authoritarian leader. Some MAGA folks say it. I want a dictator. They'll say it. One guy wanted to get spanked. There was a TYT video of people getting interviewed. I think it was in Georgia somewhere. And he goes, sometimes we need a spanking. If that's at least that's honesty. Don't act like he's anything else. Yes, Taylor just endorsed. Trump. Larry Parr says, I know Trump will say that the debate was rigged. He already said that before the debate ever happened. I'm not exaggerating. He said that. He goes, yeah, they're going to say Kamala Harris won because this on ABC and George Stephanopoulos, who didn't moderate the debate. And I think he named 2 or 3 other folks from ABC that didn't moderate the debate. They'll be the ones to rig this debate against me, and then therefore the election. Trump's always going to say that it was rigged. Yes, yes. When a black kid gets accused of murder with our justice system, it's done. It's meat. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Everything is rigged, they point out. Oh, one more from Larry Parr just now jumped in. He said he was pissed that a woman would talk down to him. I think she knew it pissed him off. 100%. There was a couple of times that she looked at him. I pointed this out. I think it was during her closing, maybe the answer before the closing remarks. And she looked over at him and gave him the, like, you ain't. Bro, I guarantee you, he thinks certain people don't have, the standing to disrespect him, to speak to him any kind of way. But he speaks to people. That's why he says people are nasty. That's why when he went on the stage and he was talking about how Kamala Harris isn't black, but maybe she's, maybe she's South Asian, whatever it is, like she needs, like, they're nasty. They ask these nasty questions. And he said Harris is nasty all the time, but he's the filthiest mouthed person in this entire political system. But that's acceptable. He gets away with things that he complains about other folks doing. And tonight he just didn't. And that was probably one of the most frustrating things for him. He's never had to actually deal with being held accountable, just verbally on the debate stage, without an audience there to pump him up and make ridiculous sounding answers look like they make sense. That wasn't there, bro. It wasn't there. It was really bad for him. It was really bad for him. I don't think he's going to win another one. I don't think he's going to want to, but I don't know if they had one scheduled already. Maybe they do. We'll see, but he's going to find a way to pull a hammy or something to pull out of that one. More folks talking about Kamala's got their vote. Understood. Raja Harris says the 2 moderators were horrible at their job. I said this too because I was talking to my moms beforehand. By the way, what's up, Mom? David Muir, who was the moderator, one of the moderators. My mother was saying how he's so straight down the middle. He's like this anchory guy, right? And I said, in order to keep that, or just who he is, and I'm not going to say he's fake, in order to be that guy and make sure he's direct and no way that he's on one side or the other, when you have a figure and an energy like Donald Trump, in order to try to be fair, when one person's acting normal and the other person's being crazy, you lean towards crazy because you get skewed off of normalcy of middle. Because if you stay middle and continue to have to try and reel this crazy person in, it's like, well, that's a lie. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, actually, that isn't really based in any kind of reality. Well, how are you going to do that? If you do that the whole time, it's going to look like you're opposing him because his normalcy is bullshit. is. His normalcy is not reality. So if you have to keep correcting his reality, it looks like you're being biased. But the bias is just based in reality because he's so far from it. So, I mean, so if anyone was frustrated with David Muir, I understand the tough job of having to try and at least not look like what they said would happen because you speak what normal truth is right in front of you. So I get the tough job he had to try and pull it off. We'll see. We'll see what the post debate spin is like. We'll see what the post debate polling is like. I hate polls. Who knows what's really going on, especially in this year? No one really knows. These polls, who are they calling folks on their cell phones? Who answers their phones and answers polls? Come on. But we'll see where the momentum goes. We'll see where the excuses fly. We'll see what Trump supporters have to say. I've been speaking for 25 minutes. I wasn't supposed to go this long, but why not? You guys are fun. One more thought from a couple more folks. At least they did have a few fact checks on them. Yeah, I mean, one of them that infanticide is illegal. Chuck Smash says Trump lost the debate big time, so expect him to do something real crazy to distract the public and change the story and the narrative. 100%. We'll see how soon it happens. Hope I'm able to jump on with more things happening. You guys know also on the watch list, I know we're doing this live, you guys. Good to see you guys. 411 of you watching currently right now. I'm not sure how high we got. I'm sure there's tons of people that are analyzing this debate, including other fellow young Turks out there. I'm sure they're continuing their coverage as it goes into the night. Trump, Jen could probably be talking about Trump all night, so this is probably gonna be fun. Let me check them out as well. But if you guys are already on the watch list, come check us out regularly. Every day we throw up a couple more videos breaking down the political craziness is happening, and as this race goes on, of course, specifically some of the things going down. I'm sitting in the eye of the storm. Apparently there's a hurricane heading my direction, and I'm just not fully sure exactly how bad it'll be, but I hope to be back on with you guys again tomorrow. There's so much I'm sure that's going to be happening, but you know, in case not, that would be the reason, you guys. We'll make it though. I'm glad I got a chance to at least see this debate and see the dismantling that happened before anything potentially else goes down. But glad to see you guys. Maybe we'll catch you guys tomorrow. I look forward to it. I plan on it. Maybe we'll do another quick morning, another morning live just to see what some of those reactions have been. I didn't get to run any video from this because I wanted to jump on right after it. Thanks, Popeye's dad. I shall stay safe. Good times out here. Enjoy the rest of y'all's evening. That was bad. Let's see if anyone else notices that. We'll catch you guys next time. Watchlist, please come back. You know, let me know.